Welcome to Beyond the Huddle, the Central Arkansas FCA podcast where faith meets competition. This is the point in time where apparently my demeanor changes and I come alive. So we were just joking about that before we got on here. But man, it's great to be here again this week. It's Dead Week. The last week and this week, this will air on Monday, July 6th, whatever date it is, July 6th, something like that. So Dead Week will have the 2 Dead Weeks will have passed by then, but we wanted to give our coaches a little bit of a break this week. So Josh and I decided we would hop on here and have a little bit of a conversation. We'll see where it leads. We've got some things that we want to talk about here. Some impact, some things that we think about on a daily basis. I know Josh he was just on a little vacation, and so we're just in the thick of it this summer. 4th of July is tomorrow, and I'm ready for some fireworks and some hot dogs. Have you ever seen the hot dog eating contest? Like, you ever watch that, Joey Chestnut?
Yeah, I don't think he chews anything up.
No.
I don't understand how that works. I don't know where it goes. I don't understand how he processes and his body. There's a lot that I don't understand. It's kind of like faith, I guess. So
did you just compare Joey Chestnut in a hot dog eating contest to faith?
Well,
I'm all in.
As much as he puts away, and I don't understand the process, but it happens, and I feel like that's the way God is in our lives. A lot of times he just does some stuff, and if we're available, he does stuff in our lives that doesn't make sense to anybody else, not even humanly possible. He gets credit for it. We move on, we learn that we are finite humans, and we can't accomplish what he can. So, not that Joey Chestnut is God, but
no,
not at all. He's majorly flawed. Like, why would you train your body?
Why
to do
could you
that?
only eat 81 hot dogs instead of 82 hot dogs?
And why am I full after one? So,
is he considered an athlete? Do you think he's an athlete?
He's gifted.
He trains.
I don't know what all he trains for that, but can't be good. I don't know. Yeah.
Do you think God has sorry, this is going off on a tangent.
We're
just jumping right in here.
I like these better than a script. Let's just roll with it.
Do you think when God was forming Joey Chestnut in the womb that he specifically designed him and said, man, you're going to be really good at eating hot dogs?
I don't know. How do you figure that out? that is your skill set, that you're gifted in that way to, I don't know. I look at him, he eats so many hot dogs, and yet he's relatively trim. He's not even fat.
Yeah.
So I don't even understand that process either.
It's a unique gifting, that's for sure. If you've never seen
can you have like a food athlete?
Oh, definitely. I think, have you ever seen the show Man vs. Food?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one. I wouldn't recommend that for anyone's health, because that's just terrible for your body. But
yeah, that's weird.
If you never watched the Nathan's Famous hot dog eating contest every July 4th,
he's got to be an athlete. It's on ESPN.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even the Ocho. It's just regular ESPN.
The Ocho. Wow.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother aspect of it.
That's good. That's good.
Man, that was a 4th of July tradition in my home growing up. That and going to watch Rocky IV. I had all of them on DVD. Rocky IV is just such a patriotic movie. It's so good, but kind of a random.
As if all the other Rocky movies are.
Well, they're very patriotic too, but that one specifically just.
So how do we feel about Creed?
I like the first 2 movies. The third one was a little bit I don't know what we're doing here.
Too much time.
Yeah. Creed 2 wasn't bad when they revisited the Drago and his son. It's interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. So this is not where we plan to go today, but here we are. I just got back from a little 3-day vacation with my 2 youngest daughters, and quality family time. Just thinking back over the years how we got here, and so I just encourage whoever's listening, figure out some time to take inventory of your life and how did you get here. And because you got here, where are you going next? What can you attribute it to? What did you learn? What did you mess up on that you need to fix? All those things. I think as Americans, we go too far, too fast, and we don't even stop to celebrate. You look in the Bible, they took 7 to 10 days for different festivals to celebrate and to remember, and sometimes even months to just celebrate, or months to mourn, or months to all the things that happens in our lives. And as Americans, we just got to wake up and like, all right, shake it off and go on to next. Well, I don't see the success in that. I don't know where we get that model from. I know we do think a lot of things different here in the States that are different than in every other country in the world. Like my family I'm married into is from the Netherlands, and they take holiday. And when they take holiday, they shut down the country and they go to wherever they want to in Europe for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. And then they come back and they go back to work, or they have literal breaks in their day of 10, 12, and 3 that they're drinking tea or coffee and sitting around and having a break and catching up on people's lives. And if they go back to work after 3, great. If not, it's there for tomorrow. But here in the States, we got to work, get it while the getting's good, and don't be burning daylight. As soon as the sun's up, you get to work, and then you work until the sun goes down. But I don't see that in the Bible anywhere. So if you have the vacation days built up, take it. Don't feel guilty for it. Don't feel bad for taking the time off. They give it to you for a reason. Utilize every last second of it. Even if it's just you taking time to be at home and sit and reflect and do nothing. I think a lot of times, we weren't even going to talk about this, but the practice of the Sabbath and taking a day. And out of all the 10 commandments, it's the one commandment that God gives to us as a blessing to us that we don't give to him. He gives us the opportunity to chill, take a break, remember where we came from, to worship him, to reset our mind and our heart and our focus on him. And if you do that, if you take the time and you sit and it's not even just sitting. A lot of people think, I would go crazy doing a Sabbath. Well, it's resting, it's sleeping. Sometimes it's cleaning your house. It's, I learned a long time ago, I think it was Andy Stanley who said, those who work with their hands Sabbath with their minds, and those who work with their minds Sabbath with their hands.
That's real.
So I'm in my head a lot. I do a lot of thinking and planning. And if you're looking at numbers and staring at a screen, sometimes your Sabbath is working in your yard, pulling weeds. I know for me, a lot of times it's working in the shop and building a table, or building shelves, or we're about to redo our closet at home, which is not an easy endeavor to undo what's already been done and rebuild back our preferred future of what we want to see happen. But a lot of times that just reminds me that's what I have to do in my life too, is to unpack everything and deal with it and store it away and build brand new, fresh from the ground up, the way that I want it to be. I think a lot of times too that can transition. Zach, I'm going way too long here, but
no, you're good.
I think that transitions a lot to us as believers in Jesus. We don't know what to do when we say yes to Jesus. A lot of times we don't even know what we're exactly saying yes to. We have this idea, but we don't know how it plays out or it develops over time. So it just takes us an opportunity to let go of everything in the past and create brand new and fresh from the ground up, designing it the way that God wants it to be in our lives. And a lot of times when we work with our hands, when we Sabbath, we have the opportunity to do that. Or sometimes if you're working with your hands, you're a mechanic, or you're a landscape worker, or you're a framer, or whatever else you do with your hands, sometimes you just need to chill and sit back and watch a movie, or sit in a hammock and do nothing. But we all rest in different ways, and it's different. And we need to take the time to just sit and rest. If you will carve out 24 hours, typically I've learned over this last year that my Sabbath is best between noon on Saturday to noon on Sunday. Just checking off, just turn off social media, not playing any games, not doing anything major, spending time with my family, preparing my heart for worship at church on Sunday morning, worshiping with my church family, singing songs to Jesus, being fed with his word. And then when noon, eating a lot of times Sabbath, and you look in the Bible, includes meals.
Hot dog eating contest.
But most of the meals started in the evening. So when their Sabbath started, they included a meal to celebrate and to calm your body down and to remember and to think and to pray through and just be in one in unison with God in mind, heart, body, and soul and spirit, and sleeping and waking up and going to church and eating again. And then the Sabbath is over. Then you go back to work, or as much work as you want to, getting prepared for the days upcoming. So that's my challenge. Anybody listening, coaches and athletes, here in Arkansas, Arkansas Activities Association has said that for 2 weeks you're doing nothing. I think it ought to be longer. I think growing athletes need longer time for rest and break and to recover and to be kids. They don't have to work all the time. I think coaches love that time. Like, I talked with a couple coaches to come on. As much as Zach said we want to give our coaches off during dead period, I called a couple. I'm like, hey, we're in a bind. You want to come on the podcast? They're like, nope, I'm going with my wife to Northwest Arkansas. We're traveling today, or I'm with my family in Kansas City, Great Wolf Lodge, or I'm at the beach, or all. I asked 3 or 4 coaches, and they were all doing exactly what the dead period's created for them to spend time with their families. I was really going to be upset if they actually said yes. So they passed that test. And we would have had that conversation here on the podcast if that's what they said. But so yeah, just figure out a time to carve out 24 hours and to rest, and to I'll say it again. If you work with your hands, Sabbath with your mind, and rest your body, rest your heart, rest your eyes, close them. There's nothing unholy about sleep. I think a lot of times too that God can speak to you in your dreams, or your ability to we see that over and over and over in the Bible. Daniel was a dream interpreter, and God speaks to people in their dreams when they close their eyes. And a lot of times people don't want to sleep because they're afraid of what they might learn about themselves or what God wants to do in their future. And then if you work with your mind, sometimes you need a project. You need to work with your hands and create something. Our God is the ultimate creator, and I can't think of a better way to honor him than to recreate some things that our creator God gives us the wisdom and the ability to create. There's a lot of stuff to unpack there, Zach. So I'll let you figure out where we're going from here.
It's funny because the first thought I had was, how does our faith shape the way we define success? And that same general thought of, how do we rest? How do we slow down? What's even the general idea of success, let alone the godly idea of what success looks like? Because a lot of times, and we talk about it all the time on this podcast, it's performance-based execution. Like, how do we get away from just trying to please everyone else around us, just trying to perform in a certain way for a certain reason because someone else will be pleased because of this, rather than just like, Lord, I just want to give my best effort today, whatever that may look like. I'm waking up this morning. I know I only have 24 hours in a day. 8 of those hours, I'm going to be sleeping. That's the required.
You get 8 hours?
Oh, I try to.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not to that stage yet.
I don't know what that means. That stage. What do you mean by that stage?
Generally speaking, older people, it seems like, not old people, older people have a tendency to wake up a little bit earlier. Or there's one guy that I've worked for that he was like, I only need like 4 hours of sleep at night. And I'm like, well, that sounds miserable. You enjoy that, but I'll be over here trying to get 8 hours of sleep. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not married yet. I don't have kids. Like, that's a whole different.
Sure. Yeah.
That's a whole different aspect of it. But I'm
glad you do, because there's a lot of younger people in their 20s who try to operate on little to no sleep.
Yeah.
They just go get it, or they can't shut their brains off, and they're vegging out on stuff when they actually just need to be closing their eyes and sleeping. So kudos to you.
I function a whole lot better, and I know this because I've just taken seasons and times of life where I just make things a certain priority. Like, there's a challenge called 75 Hard. I'm sure you've heard of it before. If you haven't heard of 75 Hard, essentially you take 75 days. You can mix and match the requirements of what you're doing for 75 days. But what I did for 75 days was...
You can't.
Well, you can, because I did.
No, I mean, if it's not 75 hard, doing it by the rules, then it's like 75 medium.
75
or
hard.
schmedium. I mean, 75 relaxed, 75 days on the calendar. Let's not do anything that it says because we don't feel like it because we're not committed to it. So let's just do it.
75 schmedium. That's crazy. 70, 70 the 75 hard requirements to the T are for 75 days. Every single day, you're doing all of these things. You are working out 2 times a day, 45 minutes each. One of those workouts is supposed to be outside. So one of them you can do in a gym. The other one has to be outside, doing it somewhere. You read 10 pages of a book a day, a nonfiction book, and you stick to a diet.
Well, and a gallon of water.
And a gallon of water, yes. Personally, I knew I wasn't going to get a gallon of water down, but I made it an intentional attempt to drink more water, and I saw the benefit of that. I also made an intentional attempt. I didn't have any junk fast food.
And take a picture of yourself every day.
Oh, I didn't do that either.
Yeah,
I took before and
that's
after
the hardest thing
pictures,
for me in that whole thing. I'm like, I have to take a picture of myself. Why am I doing this? If I'm doing it for myself, I don't need to share it on social media for the world to know. They don't need to know I'm doing 75 hard. It's a personal decision.
Yeah. I didn't post anything on social media, but
I didn't really do it then.
Day one, I took a picture. Right in the middle, I took a picture, and right at the end, I took a picture. And there was a noticeable difference of I didn't do the outdoor workout. Most days, what I did was an hour and a half workout. Instead of going to the gym 2 separate times, I was like, I can't fit that in my schedule. So I just did an hour and a half. I did one workout, was usually like lifting. The other one was some kind of cardio. I lost 10 pounds in a month and a half. It wasn't, I had a little bit more time when I did it in college, but
so you shorted yourself a month?
No, I did all 75 days.
Oh, you just said
I'm just saying by a month and a half,
okay,
I had lost 10 pounds, which was great. I felt great. I was eating healthier. I just had so much more energy. I was sleeping better. There was just so much benefit. It's crazy. That's how God designed it or something. But
crazy.
When we're living out of the abundance of rest, our work is a lot more fruitful, and we're able to work longer. We're able to work in a more focused period of time. The goal isn't really to work longer, but the goal is to be more focused with the time that you do have. At least that's how I see it. Of when I think about success to me has kind of been shaped over the last few years of we can talk specifically with teams. Success isn't just winning or losing the game. Success is, did I progress? Did I become better? Did I become more effective in the methods that I was trying to do on the court, on the field? Am I better in my skills? Am I better here or there? Rather than getting roped up in the result of it, I think success is just progress every single day. And that's what I've been reading through Leviticus recently. Actually, I just finished Leviticus. Praise the Lord. It's been a season. All right.
Numbers.
But I'm on to Numbers now. And what I learned in Leviticus was God sets all of these rules up. It's literally just the whole book. It just God is just pounding these rules down one after the other. But to take the context of it, these were his chosen people who had just been living in totally different circumstances in Egypt, had just been delivered. Moses had brought them out, and now they're in the wilderness, and they needed some kind of structure. And I think I was reminded through the book of Leviticus that similar to how they needed structure, they needed rest. We need the same things in our life of God wasn't just putting all these rules out because he expected them to be perfect in every way. He knew they were going to be perfect. He knew that they were going to fall short of the standard that was set before them. But success looked like growing closer to the Lord through those rules, through those standards, through just their daily life and worship to the Lord. Because there was a whole lot of things about you can go into the temple if you're this way, and you can go in here, and you got to take off your shoes, and you got to be this, and you got to be that. And it's easier to get wrapped up in that and the expectation of it all, rather than, Lord, today, I just want to be honoring to you in whatever ways I can.
Throw me a pencil.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that pencil's.
I don't care.
There you go. It's got a little card on it.
Business
too.
Card. You can keep it.
Yeah. But man, that's kind of how success has been shaped for me a little bit. Of we were originally designed to work 6 days, rest one. And I think a lot of times in ministry too, that gets so mixed up as well. Like almost this idea of like, I think when Jesus was on the earth and the Pharisees were getting on to him about working on the Sabbath, like that idea is almost amplified of like, okay, so now we don't even have to take the Sabbath as holy anymore because Jesus did this. It's like, well, I don't think that was really the point of what was going on there either.
Right.
So
You're talking about rest, and I think our theme in FCA last year was 24/7. As Americans and as athletes, we're always on go. We don't rest and recover. We don't take care of ourselves well. We don't do all types of things. Even, I mean, I think that flows into what I was talking about earlier. As Americans, as business people, we do the same thing. We don't rest. We don't reset. We don't recover. We don't do anything. So the 4 R's of our theme last year, which were a different theme this year. Our theme this year is glory, playing, coaching, academics for God's glory, not for our own personal glory. But the 4 last year, the 4 words, there were 4 R's. It was reset, take time to reset, take time to renew your relationship, renew your commitment, and then refuel your body, refuel your mind with scripture, with beliefs, with commandments, and commandments from scripture that applies to yourself, or promises, or whatever God has promised. A lot of times when you read the Bible, if God has promised a people or a person a promise to them, and as a believer in Jesus, you can claim that promise for your life also. And then be ready. So after you reset and you renew, then you refuel, and then you're ready to hit the ground and to play and perform. And then I think that flows right into glory this year. If you reset and you renew and you refuel and you're ready, then you're able to give God the glory. So
that's good.
So if you're interested in about 20, how that whole idea of 24/7, how do you give God your best in all the time? My words are not working here because I'm thinking too much. If you'll go to www.fca247.org, it's a theme for last year's theme of reset, renew, refuel, and be ready for what God has for you next. But if you're interested in our theme this year, you can go to fcaglory.org and see what we're hoping to communicate well to coaches and athletes through the 4 quarters of the year. Our it's a yearly theme, so it came out in January. So when school starts back, we'll be in the 3rd quarter, and then pressing hard into the 4th quarter to prepare for our new theme that comes out in January of 2026.
That's cool. As sorry, I was just processing as you were talking there. I think it's really easy to just like skip over. Like even in FCA, we have a theme every year. Like that's like 24/7. It's still just as much applicable as like glory is this
Correct.
year. And I think that's where things just get so quick, like fast paced. Sometimes it's like, all right, our like attention span can only handle something for so long, to the point. And I'm not like bashing anyone here. Like I think it's cool to have a new theme every year. We talked about that at the beginning of the year, like fresh start, have a word for the year, song for the year, things like that. I think that's a great way to honor the Lord and reset your focus at the beginning of a year or school year or whatever that may be. But there's still so much to learn from what God has brought you through to, and the experiences you've had, the lessons that have come across, whether it's a FCA theme for the year or whether it's something you've experienced in your past that maybe you didn't fully grasp the full time or the full way the first time through. I feel like there's just so much to learn from your past. That's why I didn't always love learning about history when I was going through school. I was just talking to my fiance about this. They were doing some in youth group on Wednesday night. They were doing some game about who knew their American history the best. And we got to who was I think it was like the 4th president of the United States. And I looked over at her and I was like, I like used to know all of the presidents, all the terms that they served. And she was like, well, why would you need to know that? And I was like, well, that's kind of a fair question. I don't necessarily need to know the terms that they like. That's just,
Sure.
it's not like gonna just totally change and shift my life, but it's also like the general idea of knowing where our country has come from, knowing um, where our communities, like the background, like we talk about that often, of how do we better engage our communities that are unique and specific to the
Yep.
things that they've been through, the
Yep.
people and the communities and homes that they've come from, and things like that too.
Their
How do
culture.
we? Yeah, the culture. That's a better word to
There you
use.
go.
But how do we engage, equip, and empower with what we already know and with what we can find because of what's already happened?
Yep.
I feel like that's a big part of.
It's one thing I love about Fellowship of Christian Athletes and working on staff. It gives me the ability to learn the DNA and the culture and the why behind what coaches do. When you learn their story, their background, their history. When I knew, like, there's a lot of new coaches who have recently been hired at new campuses that are within our coaching, within our schools that we cover, that we do ministry on. And now it's our turn to get to know their history, learn their family, learn their faith story, learn their what tradition of church or denomination of church did they grow up as? What are they now? Are they plugged in, and where do they belong? What are they looking for? How old is their family? How long have they been married? How old are their kids? When their birthday is? When their anniversary is? The more you learn those things, the more you're able to truly care for people and not just see them as a number of a coach, but a person that God created, that they have a heartbeat, that they have feelings, that they have emotions, that they have dreams and desires that they want to see accomplished, that they're really just waiting for someone to ask them a question so they can share that. They really don't know who to share that with. And really super grateful about that and about what you're saying. I used to know all those too. I was thinking through what is number 4, but going back to the same time too, why in the world would somebody read Leviticus? It's kind of the same idea.
Yeah.
Why do you need to know that? Why do you need to know the rules and the regulations of Sabbath and approaching the temple and the food that's clean or it's unclean and the relationships that you get to have or how to treat other people and all that? What does that matter today? What did you learn from that? Why do that?
I'm doing the Bible in a Year plan and follow the Bible recap with Tara Lee Cobble. Tara Lee, if you're listening, respect, because you do a great job.
She
on
does
that
do a great
recap.
job.
That's
A lot of people.
such
A lot of
great
people.
resource.
It's a misnomer. It's an idea. They think, oh, it's just for females. Well, just because. No, it's not.
We were talking about that at FCA camp.
Yeah,
that came up
it
because
did.
there was one of the ladies. She was like, "Are you learning from a female?" I'm like, "Yeah, she's given great wisdom here. She's very capable of giving me just as much wisdom and advice in her interpretation and the actual biblical interpretation of
Sure.
what I'm reading here." Whole nother subject for a whole nother time, but
Yeah, we're all inclusive here at
absolutely,
FCA. So.
absolutely. She broke it down really simply, and the episode always ends with "because he's where the joy is." That's always what's said at the end of every single recap that she does for. It's essentially just like a commentary alongside what you're reading. But what I learned was to sum it up into a few sentences. Essentially, God didn't make all these rules. He didn't put all these restrictions in their lives to make them miserable or to make them distant from him. Like the general idea of that is like God can follow every single one of those things that he has set because he's perfect and he's holy.
Correct.
And to amplify his own holiness while also setting the standard for this is how we are set apart. I'm God and you're you. There's a very big difference between how holy and how set apart and how high. We can't imagine how perfect God is. And I think that's where it just took some time as I was sitting through that reading. I wasn't trying to get so lost and caught up in all the rules and regulations. It was like, Lord, you are so big and you are so holy. Like I can't even comprehend the magnitude of how big our God is, because he is capable of everything that he said, all the rules and regulations. He's capable of following those things, but even more so, he's capable of loving us through our imperfections in trying to follow those things too. And that's like where it became applicable to me of, okay, I know that God's holy. I know that he's set apart for a reason, because he's in control, and he loves us so much that he didn't expect us to be perfect. He didn't set that expectation that they had to be perfect in everything they were doing. He just wants us to grow closer to him in that love. And that's a part of it, of to be more holy is to follow the rules and the guidelines that he's set before us. It's not a chore that we have to do. He simply wants it to be the choice that we make every single day to grow closer to him in relationship.
So I want to ask you a question, and set this up based off what you're saying. A little bit about me. One of the questions you sent me the questions in advance, what you're going to ask and all that. But growing up in high school, went to a small 2A, 1A school, bounced back and forth in classification in East Texas, and graduated as a class valedictorian, this, that, and the other. Math was kind of easy for me. I don't know what's happened as I gotten older, because now it's awful. But I was able to create in my mind word math, like letters, math letters, and all that stupid and dumb. I don't understand. Word math, I kind of get a picture of. So Zach, based off of what you're saying in Leviticus and the relationship and the rules, my dad's a pastor, and I remember as soon as he said this, I can't remember where he got it from. Maybe somebody who's listening to this can comment on the video or send us a message, or however they want to do that, as to where this originated from. But it's like this: rules minus relationship equals religion. Rules plus relationship equals freedom. Say it again. Rules minus relationship equals religion. Just check boxes. And that's what I think a lot of people, as young believers of Jesus today, we see going to church. We just check the box. We just check the box. We read our Bible. We give money. We show up at church. We do the bare minimum. We check the box. We have a great religion that we follow, or that we're a part of, but we're missing out on that relationship aspect of knowing who Jesus is and how much he loves us, and how much our sin cost, and how much we need his work. Like we just talked with Lance Kaufman last week about it, until he realized the cross and what the cross represented and what the cross did for him, what the cross made available for him. He didn't understand his need for Jesus. I think we do the same thing too. We see all these things that we have to keep up with, that we lose sight of the person that wants to have a relationship with us in Jesus Christ. We get so lost, and like you said perfectly in Leviticus, God is holy and God is perfect. He created all the rules. He can keep up all those rules, but it's in that process he wants us to know him, and to know his heart, and to know his care for us, and to know his plans for us, even though it seems like rules and it seems unbearable and that nobody can do this. And that's why people walk away from their faith a lot of times, because they don't understand that it's not the checkbox, it's a relationship, because he cares so much for us. He wants to guide us to him, to help us see him. So rules minus relationship equals rebellion, or equals religion. Rules plus relationship equals freedom. So in the sports world, I really didn't understand basketball until I read the rule book, to know where the boundaries were, to know what the lines meant, to know what the rules were as to how long you have to shoot a free throw, to know why you can't cross the plane when you're passing the ball in. Until you actually know the rules, then you really don't know how much freedom you actually have. You have to define the boundary to know the space that you can operate in. And a lot of times God can create some freedom, or you create freedom based on those rules that are not out of bounds. But we're so stuck on no, that we just want to rebel and say, gimme. Do for yourself. Do what's best for yourself, because everyone's told me no. Leviticus, I think, and other commands in the Bible people don't like, is because they don't understand the reason why they're written. Everything that you just explained, Tara Lee Cobble has helped you to understand that, and she's helping lots of people understand all across. A lot of people that I know are like, I did my daily my Bible recap, or I haven't done my Bible recap, or I haven't done my Bible recap. It's not that they're looking to check off a box, but it's because of what they're learning.
Yeah.
And two, I also want to say the Bible says don't be hearers of the word, but be doers. I think a lot of times we could learn less and do more and be more effective in the kingdom. So rules plus relationship equals freedom. Rules minus relationship equals religion or equals rebellion. It's all about the relationship.
I think sometimes it can feel like there are chains or restrictions, like you're saying with religion, of there's this bad picture painted with religion of we're following someone who's mystical and unknown and following all these rules and giving up our freedom to just live our lives how we see fit. And it's our truth, or there's no moral ground for truth in a lot of people's lives of, man, this is what I believe, or this is what I know to be true.
Right.
And when you can clearly set the boundary of this is truth and these are the rules, regulations, restrictions, it's a whole lot easier to follow those things, even more so when you have a relationship with the person who's created the rules, because then you get to know,
Correct.
like you're saying, you get to know God's heart and all of that. God didn't bring all these regulations, restrictions, and rules because he wanted us to be miserable. He brought them because he knew that was life, and life to the fullest, because our relationships would grow exponentially if we follow the guideline that he had set before us. So whether it's sex before marriage, or whether it's drinking to get drunk, or whether it's any kind of addiction, any kind of chain, whether it's homosexuality, like whatever it may be, there's a reason for each of those rules and regulations, because at the end of the day, when we're struggling, we're probably not feeling the same kind of freedom. And when I feel the fullest that I can, and when I see the best fruit that comes from the Lord in my life, is when I am taking the time to intentionally make choices that draw me closer to the Lord.
Yeah.
Which means simply that I'm following the rules and regulations that he set before me. And it's a process. Some days you'll get certain things right and certain things wrong too. But like you're saying, maybe it's just focusing, hey, this week, this month, this year, I simply just want to focus on freedom from this addiction that I've been struggling with. Like, is that not honoring to the Lord in what we're doing? Rather than, I get in my head all the time of like, I have to do this and this and this and this all to the best of my ability. Like, well, hold on. It's not even humanly possible for me to give my best effort in this area because I'm focused on this right now too. That just wraps around to the busyness of life of, we can't give our best in all the different aspects of life that we're doing if it's creating chaos and if it's not within the bounds and regulations of what the Lord has set before us and how to work and how to operate. And to really learn that and to know how to do that, we have to look to his word, because it's alive and active. And it's never failing.
That's right.
Man.
So tying that into this year's theme of glory, I think a lot of times, personal Josh Hader belief, not even FCA corporate or anything else, just when I'm so stuck on, like you said, doing this and this and this and this and this and this, I do it for my glory. Instead of, God, because of your glory, I want to spend time with you because of your glory and your renown and everything that's so great about you, that's awful about me. I want to spend time with you so that I start looking like you for your glory. But I think a lot of times we get it twisted, that we're doing this so that God can give to us to make us greater. And so that God can give to us to make me excel in X, Y, and Z, in the weight room, in my diet, in the locker room, on the field of play. I got to get all these right so that I can get there God, it's for your glory. Your glory is coming into me as a believer in Jesus, and I'm going to live it out to the best of my ability to everybody else. But a lot of times it's for our own personal good. It's for our own personal glory. So, and that's the rub, and that's a challenge, is trying to communicate that to coaches and athletes. Yes, he has gifted you. Yes, he has given you leadership ability. He has given you abilities. He has, you've learned talents and you've learned skills, but you're doing it for yourself, and try to help them unpack that to see that what you do, you did do it, but you were not given the ability to do that on your own. God gave it to you. God give you the ability to learn that, the ability to lift that, the ability to decide not to eat that, the ability to not give somebody what they deserved, and the tongue lashing that you received that you want to give back to them, but to hold it in and to show them love, grace, and forgiveness. It's all those things that it's for his glory. And in turn, turns into worship, turns into the ability to give it all back to him in everything that we do and every day. Decisions that we make. Do I get it right all the time? 100% no. Not even, I mean, I get it wrong all the time, but I act like I got it right. I think we all do. We all act like we're good to go when we're really not great, and we don't know how to deal with it. So I'm thankful for people who are in my life that give me the opportunity to talk it out and to give rational reason and to point me to Jesus when I thought I was doing really good and I was just riding away on the inside. Thankful for coaches who were in my life who spoke truth to me when I didn't want to hear it, who were in my ear and yelling at me in front of everybody else, but in the background were in my ear is like, hey, I believe in you. You're getting close. You're figuring it out. You're a great leader. I'm going to yell at you on the court, but you're going to get encouragement from me in private. I appreciate those people, and I think our Central Arkansas is full of coaches who are like that. That's the whole point of this podcast, is to find people who are like that are pointing people to Jesus based off of the belief in Jesus that they have. So super grateful and excited for what all has been accomplished and what all we will continue to learn from whoever sits in these chairs with the microphone in front of their face.
Yeah, definitely. Man, so much to learn from. Not just our words here, really has nothing to do with our words or anything, but just the Lord and how he moves and operates in our lives. I'm going to be honest, like even just driving here today, I was trying to make it make sense of like how many things I just had on my mind, and just getting so busy and wrapped up with, man, I've got to do this today. I've got to do that, rather than like I'm definitely more effective when I have a plan.
That's important. We got to know that.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely more effective when I have a plan. Because there is the space that we need to process, get out our emotions, but there's also the space of talking practically of how we just operate in our everyday lives too. Of, man, I work and operate a whole lot better when I have a plan going into the day of, man, this is what I've set out to do. But I also know that I can be flexible in that plan too. There's certain things that are priority that have to get done in a certain day. Totally understand.
Non-negotiables.
Yeah, non-negotiables. But there's also other things that can be a little bit more flexible. And we don't have to just bow down to everyone else around us and their needs and cater to everyone else because all of a sudden things are big or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's where one of the questions I had to talk about today was, how do you handle pressure and expectation as an athlete or coach? We got a little under 10 minutes here. We can kind of expand on that a little bit, but the pressure that comes with, all right, maybe I figured that out myself of how to operate in rest, of how to not fully figuring it out, right. Trying to live that way.
Right.
But there's still an expectation or someone that's kind of driving me up the wall of like, no, this is how we're doing it. And this is how we're operating. Like, how do we operate when there's pressure from outside people and maybe leaders in our life, or what does that look like to handle those things and expectations that we have from the people around us?
That's a big question. I often have to remind myself that the people who are above me can tell me whatever to do. I need to take a breath and figure out the principles that's in it and learn how to apply the principles to my life instead of verbatim everything that they're saying, which is a big thought that I've learned over time. What's the nugget of truth that's in here that directly affects me, that affects the people that I lead, that affects the people that I care for, and how do I apply that to my life and execute it in the best way? I think a lot of times we get lost in the emotion of what people said. They yelled at me. They were loud. They were sarcastic. And we let our emotions fill our life, and then we let the emotions drive us one way or the other, which their emotions are just feelings. Feelings can, my daughter's going to listen to this podcast, and she's going to tell me, because she listens to my podcast, and she tells me, Dad, that was really good, or Dad, that really wasn't good. And I've told her, and I think I probably have told her before, that feelings don't get to determine your joy. They're your feelings. Did God give them to you? Yeah. But we get so lost in how we felt when people tell us stuff that we miss out on what they actually said, what they actually do, and the pressure that's around everybody. Do coaches have bad days? Absolutely. Do they yell in your face? Absolutely. That's kind of what coaches do. Now, there's some coaches who will yell, but a lot of times they just yell to get your attention. Then they talk nice and easy and gentle. Whenever I coach girls basketball, I have learned to develop a gym voice where I have to get loud above the bouncing and everything else to get their attention. It's never out of anger. It's never out of frustration. It's just, and a lot of people equate loudness and volume with anger and emotions and everything else. It's not that. And we have to learn how to separate the two. How do you separate the truth and what they're telling you? And is there pressure? Yeah. Like there's pressure for us to get our yearly plans in by July 1st. Have I done it? No. Sorry, Micah. I haven't done that yet. Confessional here, but I'm working towards it in that progress and in that process to get that done. Here's what needs to happen. I need to figure out how to do it and figure out the best way to make it happen for me. And we do that a lot as adults. In the world, people give us deadlines, and is it really the deadline? Is that really what they need? Is that really the timeline that they need to get it done in? For being honest, everybody has thought that before, and sometimes it is, and sometimes there's a little bit of grace there, but they want us to get it done early, so in case we need to go back and fix it, we can fix it by the hard deadline. So the pressure, me personally, I like to work under pressure. I think I get things better done faster and better when it's under pressure. Learning how to plan out in advance and get as much done early. Is there still going to be stuff to do in the hard times? Yeah, absolutely. But the less I can do that, the better I am.
I'm only laughing because that's very true. And sometimes it really stresses me out. And other times I'm like, you know what? Josh has a piece about him right now that's that just makes so much sense. Why am I getting so worked up about something that I can't control in this situation? Or why am I getting so wrapped up in everyone else's expectations that I'm not just attentive to the practical response that's needed right now? Because you ask my fiance, she'd say, yeah, I'm a very emotional thinker sometimes. And a lot of times we got to work and whittle our way through those emotions to be able to get to, okay, this is what I'm actually thinking right now, and this is the actual practical response that needs to happen. Man, our team is pretty new, and I know you're still learning a lot of how to lead and not just be a one-man crew, because that's just been your experience since joining FCA, is figuring it out on your own and working through that. But it's kind of funny that you say that, and that's why I'm laughing over here, because
I know I'm identifying myself.
Yeah. And I know at the end of the day,
talking it out.
Yeah, I know at the end of the day that if there's something I disagree with, or if there's something that just causes a little bit more stress, it's not because you're doing that intentionally either. Sure. And that's where it's and again, to go back to the Bible plan, it's what's God's character in all of this? What is God's character revealed through his word over time that's consistent, that reminds us that, hey, he's in control right now, that he's where the joy is. And I think that's where, when we look at our leaders and we look at flaws and mistakes that we make, that, man, at the end of the day, I know regardless of any kind of mistakes that Josh makes and any kind of bumps that we run into in the road, that his heart is fully set on, listen, I'm here because I set out to impact and to minister to coaches and athletes.
Right.
That's the heart behind it at the end of the day. Really, even deeper than that, it's just to minister to and to love people. And like we talked about last podcast, it's just to disciple people around us,
right.
to grow in our own faith and to help others grow in theirs. Really simple. We like to make all these big fancy words and have all these big fancy sermons. That's really awesome and great until it's not. And then it gets all confusing and whatnot. But yeah, some really great thoughts today. We're going to have to revisit this at some point. We got like a minute left here, but man, that's such good wisdom. I always appreciate even this podcast. We have to take 52 minutes out of our day to get away from our devices and just sit down and look at each other face to face and have a conversation. Man, regardless of the viewers and anything you got out of this, I got something out of it today. And I believe that like this podcast is honoring to the Lord because of that. So that's our goal. And that's what we want to continue to do with this podcast, is to encourage and to just help people learn through our experiences, through the experiences of coaches in our area. So thanks, Josh, for sharing. To all the coaches out there, we hope you enjoyed your dead week.
Period. 2 weeks.
Dead week, period. Yes. Dead weeks.
There you go.
And we're super excited to be back again next week. Super thankful that you're listening. Find us on Instagram at beyond_the_huddle. And you can find our podcast streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And until next time, this is Beyond the Huddle, the Central Arkansas FCA podcast where faith meets competition. We'll see you next week.